Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to do a very chatty get ready with me, and I'm going to tell you the story of my worst online dating experience. So I thought it would be fun to share it with you guys, and hopefully somebody can learn from my experience. I'm going to list all the products that I'm using today in the description box because I just want to concentrate on telling the story. This video is already going to be super duper long, so grab a snack, get a drink, get comfortable, and yeah. Okay, so let me just start off by saying that this was my very first and only experience using like an online dating app or something. Yeah, app. And it was actually because of Johnny, which is my boyfriend now, and we were both single and we were friends, and he had actually talked me into joining Match.com first, and then it kind of like evolved into joining Plenty of Fish. So, and I was pretty skeptical about the whole thing because online dating never really interested me. Like I don't know, it was weird, to be honest, and I just felt like it was gonna be awkward. I don't know. But I wasn't really like in the place to go out and meet people like how I used to meet people, like at a club or whatever, you know? So I was like, fine, I'll try it. And I don't know, I think I was on it for only about like a month, and I started talking to this guy, and we'll call him Dave. So talking to Dave, and then it finally gets to like that awkward moment where he's like, oh, why don't you know, I'm like having a couple friends of mine over for a barbecue, so why don't you stop by? And this was like the first time that we were going to like be meeting each other in person. And I was really nervous, but I go over to his house, which I really don't think is like the ideal place to meet somebody that you have never met before. Like, and I think the only reason like I really went was because I knew, like, well, I didn't know, but he told me that, you know, other people were gonna be there, and he was having like this type of like barbecue thing. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So I show up there and everything is cool. Let's fast forward to the juicy part. So then like we start an actual relationship where like he's my boyfriend, I'm his girlfriend, and he had got a new job, and it was like this new retirement, like assisted living thing that had just opened up down in South Florida, and he was going to be their like main IT guy. He started working there, and I think like a week, I remember it was like after his first paycheck, and it was towards like the end of the summer, like almost I want to say like the beginning of August. And I remember because it was like back to school shopping, and it was tax-free week. So we were gonna go to the mall and like do some shopping because he had a daughter. So we were gonna like do some shopping for her, whatever. And before then we went out to eat. I think he chose Iguanamia's. So we go out to Iguanamia's, okay? My two kids are there, his daughter's there. And we order like an appetizer. We got the like chips and guac and something else, but I can't remember. So anyway, we're sitting at the table, and he's like, do you want some chips and guacamole? And I was like, you know, no thank you. I think I was busy like feeding my son because my son was pretty young then. So I said, no thank you. And I'm pretty sure he asked me again, and I was like, no, I'm good, thanks. And I shit you not, like not even 2 minutes later, okay, I don't even know, like I'm like, I get so excited thinking about this, and not excited in a good way, like pissed. So he has this chip full of guacamole and sour cream, okay, and he smears it on my cheek. And I was like, oh my God. Thank God there were children at the table. I, first of all, was embarrassed. And he thought it was funny. He thought it was a joke. And I'm over here like getting pissed off. Then, you know, he like turns around on me like, oh, it was a joke and blah, blah. mind you, like, we had this whole day planned out to go to the mall, so I looked decent that day, you know, like I knew we were leaving the house, so I like had makeup on and everything, and here I am in Iguana Mia's in front of his daughter, you know, and my 2 kids, and I'm trying to like hold my composure because I've got to like wipe this entire like guacamole and sour cream mixture off of my cheek. We ended up going to the mall, which I really just wanted to like go home and totally not speak to him anymore, but we go to the mall, and I remember it was like, I know it was tax-free week, and there was actually this event coming up with his job, so he was going to buy me a dress. So we're shopping, and like he gets my kids like a couple things or whatever, and like nothing crazy, okay? It wasn't anything crazy, like, yeah. So he bought me a dress, and then he bought me a pair of shoes to go with the dress for the event that was coming up in like 2 weeks or like the next weekend. I'm pretty sure it was actually the next weekend. I remember like when we got back home, like I still had an attitude, rightfully so, I believe also. Let me just throw that in there. It wasn't like I was just, you know, being a stank ass, like ingrateful, you know, whatever, just to do it. Like I had a legitimate reason to be pissed, okay? So we go like back to his house or whatever, and I remember we were watching this show, and he had every little thing that came out of his mouth irritated the piss out of me, okay? He had something to say about every single person, and he was very conservative in like his politic, you know, beliefs, or not beliefs, but like he was really conservative when it came to politics and stuff like that. And I'm not so much, and I'm not that conservative. Like I'm a pretty open-minded person, and he really wasn't. So I just got tired with like everything he was saying, and I ended up leaving, and I don't know, he got pissed at me, whatever. So let's fast forward to the next weekend. So yeah, so his job was in Naples, and I don't really know why they had this whole party, but I think it was more like a grand opening type of thing, and I think they were celebrating like either their first week or their first month being like in full swing. Like they had, you know, they opened, they had residents and all that other stuff, so I think it was something like that. So the CEO or whoever rented out on Naples Beach like these condos, and I had never been to Naples Beach before, but like they rented out these condos, which I'm pretty sure was a lot of freaking money because Naples is a really ritzy area in Florida. So they have like 2 or 3 little condos slash like bungalow type things open. They had an open bar. They had like a band, and there was food. I'm saying a lot, but sorry. So there was food everywhere, and there was drinks and stuff. So obviously him and I had babysitters for the night. I think my kid stayed with my mom. I don't know. His daughter stayed with his friend back at his house. So we were really excited because this was the first time like in our relationship that we were going to be out kid-free. And I thought it was gonna be really fun, like it was gonna be something different, because I've never been to like a party like that. It was a real like grown-up party, and I was pretty excited, and it was like on the beach and stuff. So we're having a good time. We had like a couple drinks, and like we're talking, we're mingling, like he's introducing me to people, and we're having a really good time. I honestly don't even know where things went south. I don't know how many drinks he ended up having. So yeah, I don't remember how many drinks he ended up having, but I think I only had maybe like 2 or 3, maybe 3. So yeah, so the party was going really well, and we're talking to people, and I'm a pretty quiet person, especially because I didn't know any of them. They all worked together, so I really couldn't like join in on the conversation because a lot of it was about work-related things. So I'm just kind of sitting there chilling, you know, whatever. And then it gets a little bit later, and I remember, I know the sun had gone down, so it was probably around like 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. And he tells me, like, he pulls me into one of the rooms and he's like, hey, just want to let you know that like the CEO guy or whatever, like his boss, said that they rented these bungalows out for 24 hours, so he said we can stay here if we want. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So he gets pissed, and I think this is when I realize that he has had a lot to drink, because he went from like 0 to 100 real fucking quick. Okay, so then I guess he didn't really like my reaction, or thought that I should be more excited or whatever. And he was like, you're so ungrateful. And I remember I think I was looking at like a magazine or a paper or something like that, and fell on, like, did one of these, like whacked it out of my hand. And I was like, whoa, like, I said cool, you know, like, what do you want me to do? Like, jump up and down? Like, you want me to do cartwheels? And honestly, like, I don't know, I think I'm a pretty like tough person, and you know, I come off like a hard ass and stuff, but being in that situation, I was kind of scared, like, oh my god, like, why are you freaking out, you know? Like, mind you, this is coming from a guy who literally smeared guacamole and sour cream in my face like 7 days prior, okay? So I'm a little bit like, I know something's off, you know, in your brain, and I'm not trying to make you tick because I'm all the way in fucking Naples, like, I'm far away from my house. Like, I'm just trying to live. Like, I'm just trying to chill. I just wanted to have like a good day, because really this was like our first date, because like I said, like, this was the first time that him and I were, you know, out and doing something without our kids. So I really just wanted to have like a good night, regardless of how much of a tool I thought he was. I just wanted to have a good night, whatever. So he didn't like my reaction. I can't remember what else happened, like, while we were, you know, talking, like, while that was all going on. But I do remember I started crying because I'm a little bit, like, I was just emotional. Like, I can't believe I'm here with this freaking crazy ass guy, and he's literally upset because I'm not jumping for joy that we can stay here, when in reality I don't really want to stay here with you, you know? Like, it's not like we're not having this super awesome day, and now you just, you know, ruined it by freaking the fuck out. So I started crying, and he ended up leaving the room. And when he left the room, he went outside, because the way that it was set up, it was like, there were like 2 levels of like condos. So on the lower level, there was not like porches, but there like an extended like concrete area where there were like picnic tables and stuff like that. So he went to go sit at a table, and I waited a little bit, and then I walked myself out of there. And the way that like that area of the beach was set up, there was like a volleyball net, like not too far away from like the doors of the condos, and there were like those like long like beach lounge chairs all set up along like the volleyball court. So I went and just sat on one of those, and just like played on my phone or whatever, just trying to like kill time. I'm just letting him like sober up at this point, and maybe, you know, his mood will change or whatever. So I remember like I was on my phone for a while, and then of course my phone starts to die, and I'm like, holy shit, like, please. But I was bored because I'm sitting by myself, so I needed something to do. So yeah, while I'm sitting over at one of the like lounge chairs, I can hear him, like, he's sitting at a table with a group of like 3 guys that he doesn't work with, so they weren't from the group, from his company. So he's sitting like not playing, but like arm wrestling with these 3 guys at this table, and they're all like literally passing around a bottle of Fireball. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I really wanted to go over there and be like, haven't you had enough? Like, do you think maybe you should just stop right while you're ahead, you know? But I was like, you know what, I just want to keep to myself. Like, I just want this night to be over. So all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell happened, because I'm like a good like 1,000 feet away, where like I can still see him, but like I was far enough to where I can't hear exactly what's going on if they're talking. but I knew something happened because he like gets up from the table and is like yelling or whatever. I don't fucking know. So anyway, he ends up sitting back down at the table. I'm pretty sure he lost like a round of arm wrestling or something because he was so drunk. Like that really set him off, you know, what the fuck ever. So he sat back down and then he starts arm wrestling this one guy, but he's literally so drunk that, like, you know, you're supposed to keep your elbow like on the table, okay? He's doing like one of those things where he's like this, you know, like he's really using all of his fucking idiot strength to try and like beat this guy. The table ends up falling, the bottles crash on the floor, and he has the nerve to get mad at the guy he was arm wrestling when his dumbass was the reason that the fucking shit flew over in the first place, or fell over in the first place. Oh God, this is so fucking embarrassing. So that's when, of course, like, I'm really paying attention because I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, if you end up getting into a fight, motherfucker, like, you're on your own. Like, I am not here to save you. Like, it's not, you know, we're not at that point where I'm gonna fucking come to your rescue because I think you're a moron. He actually has the nerve to like try and fight them. Like he actually thinks that the other guy he was arm wrestling with was the reason why this whole shit just fell over. So he gets up and is like trying to be like all like macho man or whatever and is trying to fight them, and then being like the nice guys that they were, I mean, I don't know because I don't know them, they're like, hey, you know, it's okay, it's not a big deal, you know, it's not that serious, you know, just chill or whatever. And he just became like this belligerent idiot. So then I start to walk over there because I'm like, you know what? We just need to leave. We just need to leave. And at one point he actually like swung at this guy. I don't know if you've ever seen like a video of somebody who's drunk and like they think they're doing something so fast, but they're moving incredibly fucking slow. This is exactly how he looked. And I was like, oh my God. Let me just take his drunk ass home. And he like was at the point where he couldn't even hold himself up like to stand and walk to the car. And the walk to the car was a decent, you know, it was a decent distance because there were like a lot of people or whatever. So it was gonna be, you know, quite a while. And I knew that like he was gonna be falling or whatever because just watching him stand up, I was like, oh my God, you know? So the guys that he had just tried to fight offered to help me get him to the car. And I was like, thank the Lord, because, you know, his ass would have fallen one good time on the sidewalk and I'd have left him there, you know, like fuck this. Because I was so over it. So they helped me get him to the car. When they first try to like, because they're trying to put like one of his arms on one shoulder and the other, so they're gonna carry him, you know, like that, like with him in the middle. He like has the nerve to try to like duck away and start to do like, what are you gonna do? Where are you going? Like you are literally only moving because they're helping you, okay? So, you know, they're telling him like, you know, we're just helping you to the car, you know, it's all right, whatever. These guys, they were like a godsend, okay? Because had it not been for them, the night could have been like way shittier than it was. And I don't even want to know, I could be telling like a totally different fucking story right now. But yeah, so they helped me get him to the car and like I thanked them or whatever, and we're leaving. Now mind you, it's like an hour drive from Naples to where he lived. So we get on the highway and immediately, like we literally merged onto the highway, and then he's like, you gotta pull over. So I pull over, he pukes, and I'm like, this is fucking great. This is fucking great, you know? I've just got like the mindset, like just get him home. So finally we get off the exit and I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Like I've never been so freaking excited. Okay, so side note, please do not come for me with my little baby wing, okay? But I'm really struggling to do this. It's really freaking frustrating. And I feel like my only like liquid liner that I had to use was like drying up. Yeah, so okay, so I think like we finally made it back to his house, and his friend was inside, so I go because there's no way that I'm gonna, you know, be able to get him out of the car. So I go inside, I'm like, hey, Dave is out in the car, I need you to help me bring him in. He's like, you know, he's drunk, he's passed out in the car, and I need you to help me bring him in. So he comes out, and mind you, Dave lived in an apartment complex, so it wasn't, and he lived on the first floor, so it wasn't like there was very much distance for him to go from his car, which is what we took his car, from his car to the front door. It literally took his friend, we'll call his friend Tim, like 15 to 20 minutes to get him from the passenger side of the car to the front door. And the whole time, Tim's like, oh man, I'm really sorry, he doesn't usually get like this, blah blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't really care, because as soon as you get him inside, like I'm leaving, okay? He finally gets inside, and he's trying to get to his room and like go lay down in his bed. But the way that like his little apartment was set up, like you walk in and like you're in the living room or whatever, and then there's a door, like if you look straight across the living room, there's a door, and that's where his bedroom was. But he had like a big glass coffee table, and I knew that he was so clumsy and he was so, you know, like just spilling over every 5 fucking minutes, that if he, you know, made the wrong move, I just stabbed myself in the eye with my mascara. If he, you know, made the wrong move, he was going to go straight into that coffee table, and I did not want it to break, because at this point, I think it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe. Like we had been at that fucking beach party for a hot minute before we finally like made it home. And his daughter was sleeping in her room, and I didn't want him to make this big commotion and then her wake up and then see her dad, you know, I just didn't want that to happen. So I was like, no, you need to just sit on the couch, like, you know, chill out or whatever. And I'm still like trying to be nice, and I was like, you know, let me get you a drink. So I get him a cup of water, and I go get him like a cup of water, and I'm gonna use, it was like a good size cup, like this size, okay, full of water, just, you know, like take a drink, chill, you know, something other than fucking alcohol. I hand him the drink, and I'm like, he's sitting on the couch, and I'm like standing not directly in front of him, but like in front, kind of to the side or whatever, like in front of his knee. I go to hand him the drink, and literally he slaps it out of my hand, and it gets all over me. And I was like, that is it. Like, I'm done. I'm leaving. Fuck you. Fuck everything. Like, I was so done. And I told his friend, I was like, Tim, I'm out. Like, I'm out. I get in my car, and I was so mad that it's like, when you get so mad, like, all you can do is like cry. And I like cried for probably like 2 minutes, and then I was like, you know what, fuck this, like, no, because then I'm like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna cry, like, oh, I knew I was just tired, I was frustrated, and I had been like disrespected so much, and I was just like, no, like, I can't, like, I gotta do fucking better. But that was the end of that night. You would think that that was enough, and the relationship did not continue, but it did, unfortunately. I was actually, like, Johnny, my boyfriend now, we were like best friends, and I talked to him about, you know, like everything that was going on, so he knew like how much of like a shitty guy he was, and, you know, whatever. He basically just said what I already knew, like, you know, I gotta do better, like, you know, I deserve better and all this other shit. I think we didn't speak for like a couple of days. It might have been like four or 5 days, like we didn't talk, and then we like got back to talking, and things kind of just like started right back up. And I really, honestly, I don't know why. I don't know why things, I don't know. I can't like answer that. So after the whole beach charade, I want to say the next weekend I had my sister coming down from Baltimore, and I was really excited, and you know, we were gonna go out, we were gonna have fun, because I hadn't seen her in a couple years. So I pick her up from the airport and we go back to his house, because like I said, for some ungodly reason, like I was still putting up with his ass. So we go to his house, and my sister had just gotten off the plane like 3 or 4 hours before this. Okay, I make dinner, and we're all like gonna sit down and chill, eat and talk, you know, get to know each other, you know, like introduce her to him. And she didn't know any of the shit that had just happened like a week and 2 weeks prior, because if she did, she wouldn't have stayed at his house. I make my sister a plate and I serve her first because she was the guest. Okay, like that's how I was raised, like the guest would eat first, you know, and the person who cooks always eats last. So we're talking, like I serve her, and I saw he had like some stank ass attitude or whatever, but I was like, you know what, whatever, you're not the center of attention, so maybe that's why you're acting like a dick. I don't know. My sister and I are talking about like what we want to do, where we want to go, and like we just like the night continues or whatever, and everybody is having like a pretty good time. He has like a stank ass attitude, but I really wasn't trying to like pay him any mind because my sister was here and I didn't want to cause a scene in front of my sister. So I'm just trying to like get through it and, you know, whatever. So everybody's gonna go to bed, okay? And he, like I slept on the couch and he slept on the love seat, and we let my sister have like sleep in his bed because he only had like a 2-bedroom apartment, so it was pretty small. So there wasn't like a guest room for her to sleep in. Okay, so everybody goes to bed, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna wake up and start, you know, a really great weekend. And oh, I do have to mention that on the way to the airport, I had taken like a selfie, posted on Facebook, and I said something about like having a good weekend, or it's gonna be a good weekend. And Johnny commented, he was like, you deserve it. And so anyway, now we can go back. So it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, okay? And he wakes me up to break up with me. And I am a deep ass sleeper. So he woke me up and then just started talking, and I'm like, whoa, 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 like, wait, what? And then I'm like, we're not doing this. Like, you are not breaking up with me. Like, I've literally put up with all of your shit for the past like 2 months, and like, this is how it's going down. Like,
oh, okay.
He basically tells me that he went through my phone and read the messages between like Johnny and I, and how Johnny thinks I deserve so much better, and that like we talk all the time. Mind you, Johnny was in a relationship, so it wasn't like we were talking, you know, like that, you know what I'm saying? Because he was in another relationship with somebody else, and I, you know, obviously was stuck with. Ooh. So yeah, so he's telling me that like the conversations between Johnny and I, like that we were disrespecting him, and reality, it was just because he had read about the shit that happened the weekend before at the beach, because I told Johnny about it, and that's why he was like, you know, you deserve better, all that other shit. So then he tells me that he, reading that conversation literally made him sick, and he threw up. Then he's like, if you don't believe me, go outside and look in the bushes. Like, first of all, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. A, I don't care. B, I think you're lying. C, I'm not gonna go outside and check for vomit in the fucking shrubs because you think that my conversation made you like I'm not gonna do it, okay? Like I'm just fucking not gonna do it. Also, my phone at the time, I had the iPhone, I think it was the 6S Plus or the 6 Plus. I think it was just the 6 Plus, but I had the like thumbprint lock. So I'm thinking in my head, like as he's talking about going through my phone, I'm like, this motherfucker like grabbed my thumb in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping to unlock my phone. So like he's talking all this shit, and I really don't have anything to say because you just woke me up out of my sleep, like, and to be honest, like I really didn't care. Then he tells me that he wants me out of the house, like now. He wants me out, okay? He wants me to get my sister, wake my kids up. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning at this point because I think he was probably rambling on for about an hour. And he's like, you gotta go, like I want you out. And that's when I'm like, oh my God, like not only did you wake me up 5 o'clock in the morning to break up with me, you stole my thumper in the middle of the night to go through my phone, but now you want me to wake up my family at the butt crack of dawn and leave. So I was like, okay. I'm like, all right, fine, you know, whatever, like gladly I'll get the fuck out of here, okay? So then he goes on to say that by the time he got off of work that day, because it was a Friday? Yeah, I think it was a Friday. So he goes on to say that by the time he gets off of work, that he wants me to leave $200 under his like doormat to pay him back for the money he spent on me and my children like 2 weeks prior. Like I told you guys, we went to the mall. He bought my kids like little stuff, like little pajamas or whatever that was on sale. Most of the money was on the dress and the shoes that he bought me that I did not ask for. So he tells me that he wants me to leave him $200 under his doormat by the time, and like he wants it by the time he gets home from work that day. I'm thinking in my head, motherfucker, I'm not doing that. Like the most I'll do is pile all your shit that you bought back up into like some Walmart bags and I'll leave that on your doorstep and you better have the receipt. You can return the shit on your own. Like I'm not giving you $200 of my money. So I, you know, had to wake up my sister, which it sucked, but like it is what it is, you know, and like I get my kids, I get in the car, and at this point I'm just thinking like, oh my God, like this weekend is not starting off how I wanted to. My sister's down visiting. I really wanted to have this awesome weekend, and it was just starting off on the wrong foot. But anyway, so then obviously like things were over between him and I, like officially over. And I think I like told Johnny, like, I'm not doing this Plenty of Fish crap anymore. Like I'm done. Like everybody's on there is psycho. You can't tell me different. Like it just left a whole bad taste in my mouth because I was like, this is my first online dating experience and I meet this utter fucking douchebag, okay? And it was maybe like, I want to say a month or two after we broke up that I just logged back onto my Plenty of Fish account, and I don't even know what I was thinking. I don't know what was going on through my head. But I ended up getting a message from him saying like, starting that whole like, I miss you stuff, or like, how are you doing? Can we start talking? Like, and at this point I was like, no, red flags, flares, everything. Like, stop fucking talking to me. Like, I want nothing to do with you. And that was it. Like, I never looked back. But like now I can laugh because it like should have never happened. Like honestly, the whole relationship should have just ended at the time that he fucking smeared guacamole and sour cream in my face, okay? So yeah, that is it for my story. I hope you got a good laugh. And yeah, anyone who is in a relationship where you feel disrespected or you feel like somebody's not treating you the way that you deserve to be treated, just leave, because there's no reason why anybody should put up with that type of mess. Like, you know, you have to have standards for yourself, and you're always gonna have that little voice in the back of your head telling you that the situation you're in is wrong. Like, everybody has a conscience, you know, to an extent, but like when somebody's treating you a certain way, your conscience is gonna tell you like, we don't have to put up with this, and you don't, regardless of who they are, how awesome they are when things are good, because when things are good, everybody, you know, it's easy. Nobody should have to put up with that type of mess, and I definitely learned a lesson. I hope you can learn from my experience, if not laugh at it, because I sure can now, 3 years later. So yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!